Hello everyone, welcome to Resonant News. Wishing everyone a happy new year. The BrahMos, a name which sends shiver down the spine of India's enemies, is one of the most significant accomplishments of military and technical cooperation between India and Russia. This is common knowledge. But what makes BrahMos so special? To help everyone understand India's achievement in missile technology, today we have Dr. Sudhir Mishra sir, who till recently was the face of BrahMos itself. Sir was heading the BrahMos project. Dr. Sudhir Mishra is an Indian engineer, defense scientist, and was a civil servant. He was the chief executive officer and managing director of BrahMos Aerospace till recently. Earlier in December, he superannuated, and Atul Dinkar Rane sir has been appointed as the new chief executive officer of the BrahMos project. We are really honored to have Dr. Sudhir Mishra sir with us today. We decided to ask Sir about his journey to BrahMos and what inspired him to join DRDO.
I was very lucky to get admitted in a school which was set up by government of Madhya Pradesh as a school of excellence. It used to be called Government Model School. And just for the information of viewers, I would like to tell that in Madhya Pradesh, out of 25 uh, students in the merit list, we used to occupy all the seats, right from 1st to 25th. It was so good. And when the visitors used to come, we all were supposed to tell them something about technology or any topic of interest. And I don't know, I got up and I read somewhere about the rockets and missiles. And I started speaking about rocket and missiles, spoke to for about 3-4 minutes. It was, very uh, I can say just accidental, unplanned. And the moment came and went away. Uh, and when I did my engineering graduation and I was looking for the job, I got offer from three places. So the first one was NDDB, National Dairy Development Board. I would have been in the process industries. The second one was in a cycle manufacturing unit at Lus. They used to make, they were one of the largest cycle manufacturer in the world. And the third one was in DRDO. And in DRDO also, we had 52 laboratories. And I don't know what happened. And they posted me to a missile lab. And when I went there, and the name itself was very, it doesn't convey anything. The name of the lab was Defense Research and Development Laboratory. So you can't make out whether what do they do. And when I landed up there, I realized that I'm back to the missiles on which I spoke for a few minutes in my school. And I happened to work under Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam there. So I will say that the destiny brought me to rockets and missiles. It's completely unplanned, and it was, I can say, my luck, destiny, through which I got into the missiles, and I could continue my journey for almost 38 years in the missiles. So it's pretty interesting. Very lucky person I am.
Definitely. And that you said your mentor himself is APJ Abdul Kalam. I don't think there can be anything more luckier than that. Everyone would love to associate and meet a man like that. I would love to know why BrahMos? Why would India prefer BrahMos? I mean, other than it being a deterrent, and how does it fare when compared to others?
You see, there are two kind of missiles: tactical missiles and strategic missiles. And strategic missiles basically carry, the nuclear payload, and they are for deterrence purpose. They are not to be used. And I pray God that nobody ever feel need to use them. The second kind of missiles are tactical missiles. Tactical missiles are like surface to surface, surface to air, air to surface, ship to ship, ship to land, land to ship, or anti-tank guided missile. They are a variety of missiles, and they use tactical warhead, a conventional TNT or high explosive warhead. And BrahMos uses non-strategic, the tactical warheads, and it can be deployed to safeguard our interest at any place. And BrahMos is a very universal missile. Universal in the sense, BrahMos can be used ship to ship, ship to land, land to ship, or from surface to surface, or from air to ship, air to ground. So it's a universal missile, and it covers almost all the domains of tactical missiles. That is why it has been inducted by Indian Armed Forces in all the three wings. The BrahMos has been successfully tested, deployed, inducted in numbers by our armed forces, and whenever they feel need, I think it becomes a weapon of choice for them. We have conducted more than, I think, 85 flight tests, and barring one or two, we have always successfully hit the target. That makes it a very, very powerful weapon. And you see, it's a cruise missile. A cruise missile is having its own advantage. It's a unmanned, it flies at a very low altitude, so it can evade radars. It can also, it is a very stealth kind of weapon, in the sense it's made up of composite. So the radar signature is also very less. And we have developed a variety of missiles in DRDO, and the BrahMos is one of the product of it. And there are other missiles also are in services, like Akash. I'm not naming strategic missiles. I'm just saying the tactical missiles like Akash, Nag, and Nirbhay, and so many other varieties of missiles are also into Indian Armed Forces. Maybe the BrahMos, the name is very attractive because it's related to Brahma or river Brahmaputra. That's why I think it become very popular, and it's very attractive for people to know more about it.
I'll move to my next question. That's on December 8th, there was a test conducted, and this was the air version of BrahMos, which was conducted, and it was considered a major milestone. So, to know what exactly is a milestone being talked about?
You see, we conducted the flight test of BrahMos from air, from Sukhoi 30. You see, first we should know about the platform. Sukhoi 30 is a very, very powerful platform of Indian Air Forces, and the range of this aircraft, it's pretty long. It's more than 3,000 kilometers. And the BrahMos range, as you know, is about 300 kilometers. So if you integrate such a powerful missile to a Sukhoi 30, and the range of the missile gets extended very, very long. And the second thing is, if you can, we should, when we do the refueling in the air, then you can imagine the range. You can refuel when it goes, you can refuel when it returns. So it's more than 4,500 kilometer, 5,000 kilometer range of Sukhoi 30 itself. And you put a missile. So almost all our interested targets are within our range. That is why that flight test became very, very important for all of us. Apart from this, you see, now India has its interest in Indo-Pacific region, Indian Ocean, and we have to ensure the security of our energy, right from Africa, right from Middle East, up to the just before the Indonesia, and our friendly countries who are in the South China Sea, all around that place. So Indian Air Force, as you must have read in the newspaper, Indian Air Force has also created a squadron, they call it a Tiger Shark. It's located in south of India, and the first time we have deployed Sukhoi 30 in South India with BrahMos. So the security of interest to India, they are ensured. That's why it became very important, very, very strategic to deploy with BrahMos. And that was the reason why people have taken notice of it. We have to remember the technical achievement also. You see, we never made BrahMos for Air Force earlier, and we had to make it a much lighter. So we have replaced many of the metallic structure components by lighter composites and materials. Apart from this, we had to do several tests in the wind tunnels. We had to do a lot of drop tests to see whether the missile is separates from the aircraft in a very safe and secured manner. We have we have done a lot of computational fluid dynamics to ensure that missile behaves in a normal manner. And it is the world heaviest missile, tactical missile, which is integrated with a fighter jet. If you see, there are missiles which are integrated with bombers also, like B-52 or Illusion, but they are bombers. They don't go with a supersonic speed. They go with a subsonic speed, and they can fly very, very long distances. But when it comes to the fighter jets, and fighter jets like Sukhoi 30, there is no weapon of such a range is available. So when we integrated, then we strengthened Indian Air Force and our armed forces to very, very great extent. That's why it was important, and we call it a milestone. And I'm very proud to say that I was involved right from the beginning, and before my superannuation, I have realized it and inducted it. And this is a very high point of my life. I consider it as a personal achievement. Thank you.
Great, sir. That's really great, and something really to be proud of. And once again, congratulations for that, sir.
Thank you.
So, yeah, everyone was curious with how well does it fare against S400 or S500 Lexus?
You see, S400 and S500, they are very good air defense system when it comes to a subsonic cruise missile. And BrahMos is a high supersonic cruise missile. It flies with the speed of 3 Mach, 3 times the speed of sound. And for any missile systems, for any air defense missile system, to engage BrahMos is very, very difficult thing. That is why the BrahMos is in demand. And India also has purchased S400, and we know the capability of this weapon system also. And I can tell you that the BrahMos can beat any air defense system existing today in any developed country. I will, without naming that nation, I would like to say that there were a few studies conducted some time back, and they were published also, that how to defend against BrahMos missile. And I want to tell you that one of the major nation in the world, they said that they can defend against 1.2, 1.3 BrahMos missile. It means if there are 2 BrahMos fired against any ship in the world, nobody can defend it. It's indefeatable missile. And I tell you that any warship, including aircraft carrier, if you hit it with the missile, the performance gets degraded. And that is why it's also named as a, the BrahMos is called by NATO as a widowmaker. Widowmaker, it can make many, many widows. And that is why it's a very powerful missile, and nobody can defend against it. You can use air defense missiles, anti-anti missiles against it, or one can try when it comes closer, then artillery shells or a very high, very rapid fire rounds against it. The kind of trajectory it takes in the terminal stage, it makes it a real widowmaker. And we tell many places that if you see, the earth curvature, so it allows the radars located on a ship to look for about 19-20 kilometers, at the max 22 kilometers. And just before that, the BrahMos takes a dip and comes to about 5 to 10 meters above the water surface. And enemy gets about 20 to 24 seconds to react. It's a very short time. Countermeasures, electronic countermeasures won't work. The algorithm is such that it can defeat any electronic countermeasure systems. And in 15-20 seconds, it's a very right thing to say prayers and save your life, or save your life beyond life. And nothing can protect it. Nobody can protect it. This much I want to assure you. It's not possible as on today. And I feel for another 10 years, it will not be possible to defend against BrahMos. It's a real widowmaker. NATO has rightly named it.
So that reminds me of the record that BrahMos holds of the steep dive, and also of the S curvature or S path that it takes.
In the terminal stage, it takes S like a cobra, final dive.
To a layman like me, does it mean that it travels like this and then it goes up and then it comes down?
No. You see what happens. It takes a dip almost, just before the curvature of the Earth starts, and it comes down. Dip in the sense it flies. It may fly at any altitude, but when it has to come to a terminal stage, then it takes a dip, and when it takes a dip, and then this altitude continues till the final stage. That is a 5 meter to 10 meters. And there is an altimeter. It ensures that it doesn't go more than that or less than that. So, the final S curve makes it very, very difficult, impossible. I will not say difficult. I'll say it impossible to save from it, protect from it. And secondly, it is made up of composite to large extent. So the radars also, signature is very, very small, like a bird. Somebody may think that it's a bird. It's not a missile. And it's electronically protected. It doesn't radiate anything. Oh, it's very difficult.
It really sounds awesome. And as an Indian, I think I really feel proud to when I hear these things. I mean, this is like invincible. BrahMos is almost invincible.
It's invincible.
Right. So that reminds me of the next question. And I had seen that South Korea was pitching for a submarine to the Indian Navy. And they had pretty much shown in their brochure, there was this picture of BrahMos and what is happening on the BrahMos submarine side. What are the developments on that front?
You see, a few years back, we have conducted the flight test of BrahMos from a submarine. And it was successful. And as I told you in the beginning, that it's a universal missile, and it is on the table for our armed forces to induct on their submarines. And I'm sure somebody must be thinking about it and must be planning about it. So if South Korea is interested, they can always approach the government of India for inducting in their submarine forces. So it must be, it is a government to government talk. So I'm not aware of it. You see, it is for Indian Navy to answer whether they have inducted it or not. I would not like to comment on it.
As I sat there listening to Sir talk about BrahMos' invincibility, I got goosebumps. Even as this interview was being shot, Philippines confirmed the BrahMos deal, making it the first foreign country to own BrahMos. They have allocated $55.5 million for initial funding of the weapon system. A team from Philippines Navy had earlier in December visited BrahMos production unit in Hyderabad. On March 2nd this year, India and Philippines had signed an implementing arrangement to facilitate government-to-government defense deals.
Next, this thing was the update on BrahMos 2 and the BrahMos NG. So, what are the developments happening on that front, BrahMos 2 and BrahMos NG?
You see, the government of India has come out with a policy called Atmanirbhar Bharat. And Atmanirbhar Bharat calls it to be self-sufficient in the technology in all the spheres of rockets and missiles. And sometime back, our defense minister, Shri Rajnath Singh ji, had inaugurated at Lucknow a new facility which will be producing BrahMos next generation. So I believe that R&D is in progress. This missile, what I feel, will be much smaller in the size, weight, and it should be able to carry out the same performance as the existing BrahMos can. You see, BrahMos is about 22-year-old missile, and any next generation missile will be using the newer mechanisms, materials, and electronic technologies. So at the same time, a similar or better performance. So the next generation would be of that kind, and the BrahMos know how to make a universal missile. So I believe that BrahMos NG also would be, developing a universal missile to be used from any platforms, can be used against a variety of targets, but much more destructive power. And this being a joint venture between India and Russia, it's not only the joint production. This is not a licensed production. It's a joint research and development. So we get access to the best technology of India and best technology of Russia. And in India, DRDO, it's having the record of meritorious record of designing and developing variety of missiles. And all the technologies which are used in the BrahMos, they are DRDO technologies. And the DRDO technologies are well proven, and we use them in many systems. So the similar technology will get used in BrahMos also, BrahMos NG also. And BrahMos 2, we used to think that we will make a hypersonic version of BrahMos, but it is it's still on the drawing board, and I feel that it will take some time, and you will hear more about it from my successor.
So it has been successfully tested with indigenous seeker. In one of your another one of your interviews, I had also heard you mention the imaging seeker. So
yeah,
what about that?
You see, we have tested RF seeker, and there is a technology RF imaging seeker. So, instead of the optical one, like infrared seeker, which is used, very widely by anti-tank guided missiles and surface to air or air to air missiles. So the similar kind of technology using RF can be used for imaging purpose. And using RF imaging, we can find a target. And you see, with the simple, when you engage a land target, it's usually the stationary target. But with RF imaging target, we will be able to engage even a slow moving target also. So this technology is under development in many parts of the world. And I'm sure it will take few years and for the technologies to mature. And this will bring a generational change in the missile technology.
It also reminds me of this incident when I had first met you during IDEX exhibition when you were here in Abu Dhabi. I was not expecting you to be there, and suddenly when you walked out and you introduced yourself as a CEO, I was like, wow. I mean, So first of all, I came to that this thing pavilion because I saw BrahMos's brochure being taken around. There were foreigners reading it, they were discussing it, and I was like, wow, where is BrahMos coming from? And that's how I headed to your pavilion and I saw you, I met you. I'm moving to my
Please.
last question in any case. So there are two more questions. How
Yeah.
accurate is BrahMos and what percentage of it is very indigenous?
You see, BrahMos is a tactical weapon. And being a tactical weapon, it has to be pinpointly accurate. So it is that much accurate. And when you are trying to engage a ship or a tactical target, then if you are not accurate within few meters, then the whole purpose is lost. So it's a pinpointed weapon, number one. Number two, when it comes to indigenization, as I told you that it's a joint venture weapon, and we have indigenized close to 70-80% of the systems. In this weapon system, we share the specification with each other, and we don't share the design, development, and production methods. So whatever is cheaper, if suppose Russia offers it at a cheaper price, so we use the Russian one. If India offers it at a cheaper price, we use the Indian web sub-vendors. So it's a economic decision basically. And you see, being a joint venture, we should use the technologies available in both the countries. So it's a economic decision, number one. Number two, we have reached to 70-75% of the indigenization level in this. But you see, if you look around the major corporations, you see the Boeing is it's a American company, but they use engine made in France. Okay. If you see the Brazil, they again use the engine made in UK. And the MBDA. MBDA is a company promoted by 4 countries. So it will be always in the future. It will not be one nation which will be doing everything on its own, but there will be many countries who will come together, make a joint venture, and they will design, develop, and come out with a new weapons. So it's a good idea always. You see, my view is if we can make a joint development or joint production or joint design and development with foreign companies, then why not we do the joint venture with Indian companies? So the government should have majority stakeholders, say 50.5, and rest of the equity can be given to the private companies. India has always been a technology-driven society. If you see our old scriptures, they all are technology driven. They write about the technology. They write about how to live, how to survive, and how to ensure safety, security in the future. This is one. And now, in the since independence, we have focused on our education system everywhere, right from the primary, tertiary, primary, secondary, tertiary, at the university, IITs, IIMs, ISCs, and all over the country, you see thousands and thousands of engineering colleges, all imparting education, good education. And this has created a huge number of engineers having various kind of skills. And this skills is going to be used in the future. Nobody can stop. At the same time, India will ensure a global peace and prosperity. And we have never attacked anybody. And we will provide a very, very dependable, credible support system at the global level. This much I can assure you.
That's a great note to end this interview at. We are really thankful to Dr. Sudhir Mishra sir for patiently explaining how BrahMos puts India ahead of so many other countries. Hope you liked the interview. Do subscribe and share.